With the indices in the red today, what's in store for this week? I'll break it all down, but before that, there is the closing bell with the S&Ps finishing the day about flat. You can see in today's tape, we spent most of the day waffling around. We put in an all-time high in the afternoon, we rolled over, and we're retesting that come the close. Now, when we take a look at it on a daily, you can just see, so far this month of April has been a very nice trend up, and we're putting in all-time highs as we speak. Now, remember, we're coming into this week in the SPX expecting about 58 points of expected move. 58 up would take us to 4186, and 58 down would take us to 4070. 4075 also played the upper resistance, which we shattered in last week's tape. So I would say between 4070 to 4080 as well as 4100 should play some very strong support here in the S&P 500. We'll hit that lower edge if we see a reversal in the Nasdaq. And when we take a look at the Nasdaq today, it's down about 7 basis points. However, seeing a nice wick and recovering, trending to the upside. The Nasdaq's within striking distance of all-time high. And on the expected move this week, 14.1 plays the upper resistance in the Nasdaq, as well as getting past that 13.9 that would put a new all-time high, as well as psychological 14K would see a lot of FOMO to get us there. However, if we do roll over, 13.5 in the Nasdaq should play some very strong support. However, getting to the lower edge is going to be led largely by our bonds. And when we take a look at the bonds today, the bonds are down about 6 basis points. Call them flat on the day. I drew some trend lines here, and you can see they're tightening up and consolidating here. The bonds are waiting for a big move to happen, which could be this week. A break to the upside is going to send the yields down, which when we look at the 10-year yield today, it's up about 0.5%. But for the most part, for about a month, the yields have been consolidating in this range. Now, with the yield stabilizing, it's given a lot of growth name stocks some moves to the upside, specifically the Big Five. When we take a look at the Big Five today, they're down about 1/3%. Now, these guys make up about 40% of the Nasdaq. Today, we see Apple down about 1.3%. We see Google down about the same. We see Facebook down about 1/3. However, we saw Microsoft slightly in the green, as well as Amazon in the green, up 0.2%. Overall, you see the XLK down about 0.5%, so technology was weak today. You even see the XLE down about 0.8%. On the flip side, we see the software stocks getting slightly green, up 2 basis points. Healthcare stocks up slightly near all-time highs. We see the industrials up 0.37%, putting in a new all-time high. It was the consumer staples today leading the way up 0.5%, consolidating near all-time highs. Even our financials today were up about 0.4%, putting in a new all-time high. So the financials were up today with the yields. It's going to be interesting to watch this trade unfold this week. Do the financials keep on going? If they do, does that mean the yields are going to get going? So it's going to be up to a lot this week on the bonds. So keep your eyes on how the financials trade in this week's tape. However, when we just take a look at our volatility futures, they're down about 0.5%. Now, when we just take a look at, these are 9 days out. So it's not the best read on volatility, but it's down to say the least. When we look at the VVIX, it's up 0.2%. You can see it gapped up. However, intraday, the VVIX was trend down and is closing relatively weak, trying to get some bids going, but this is a good sign going into tomorrow's tape. Is the worst behind us going into this week's tape? We'll see how volatility trades, but largely it's going to come down to what the bonds want to do. Let's take a look at our dollar index and see what's going on in the commodities. And taking a look at the dollar index, about flat on the day, for the most part hugging this 92 area. When we take a look at crude oil, it was up today about 0.2%. For the most part, crude oil is consolidating, getting fairly tight right here. Even though it was up today, the XLE was in the red, as you can see right there. And lastly, we have gold down about 0.75% and rolling back over that 1730. Seems to be a very attractive level for the precious metal, and it's a slow moving rock. Bitcoin on the flip side was up 3% today, putting in a new all-time high in these futures, however giving that back, but we're up on the day. Now I want to take it a bit closer and take a look at some of my charts. This is the Coinbase chart on a 4-hour. You can see we broke back above this 59.5, and it's been support over the weekend. Now I want to point out there is a crossover here on the 17th of April. Coinbase IPOs on the 14th of April, so this week could be very volatile for crypto, especially coming towards the latter part of the week. When we take a look at the Binance chart, it's back above this 57.9. The next Fibonacci is 64.2 on this chart, and on my Bitstamp chart, We can see we got rejected over the weekend around this upper pitchfork. We're still kind of in no man's land here, but we're above this pitchfork. You take a look out, we see the 23rd of April, as well as the 26th, even the 2nd of May. So this back half of the month is going to be very volatile, especially if we're hugging that up until that time period. I think a big move is coming this coming weekend. We'll see how it trades day by day, but for the most part, Bitcoin under 60K appears to be a steal. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. So with our indices relatively flat today, we didn't get going. But so far this month of April, we've been on an absolute tear. So cooling off one day isn't going to hurt us, especially resetting our indicators, gearing up for a move higher. Seeing the S&Ps go positive to the end of the day is a great note, especially seeing the VVIX trend down all day long. Remember, we're only expecting 58 points this week in the SPX, so with low volatility, don't expect much of a move, but we're camping near all-time highs, and we'll have to keep our eyes on those financials. If they get going, a big move is going to be made here in the bonds very soon. Can they break off from yields, or are they going to rise with yields? We'll have to keep our eyes what the bonds do this week. But if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up. It means a lot when you guys show some support. And if you're watching me for the first time, I do these breakdowns daily. Show some love and hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot if you guys can do that. But any comments or questions for me, I'd love to hear from you. But on that note, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great night. Take care. Peace!